In these current times, I feel we need music now more than ever. It's our solace, our outlet, and it helps us cope. The Swamp Krewe is a monthly subscription that supports the heavy underground. You'll hear brand new artists and established artists. For just $5 a month, you're going to get over 125 digital albums on Bandcamp. Bands like Green Hog, Lunar Swamp, Grave Disgrace, and another announcement coming up very, very soon. If you join this month, you're going to get a Doom Tomb sticker, and hey, you never know what other kind of swag will be sent your way. Your first month is free. So get in the Swamp Krewe by going over to theswamprecords.com/doomtomb to get your free CD and your Doom Tomb sticker. Stay heavy, my friends. We've got some news right before we get into the interview. I think this is going to be one of the last episodes that I wind up editing for at least a little bit. We're going to take a little bit of a different direction, and it's all going to be with the help of Ian, otherwise known as Ian from the band Stonewitch, the bassist, but he's also from No Masters Audio. And, you know, he sent me something last night for one of the future episodes. It sounds fantastic. You got to check it out. Please let us know. Hit him up. Hit me up. It's No Masters Audio on Instagram. And you already know us. It's the Doom Tomb. Now, let's get on to the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Doom Tomb Podcast, the podcast for all things stoner, doom, and sludge. And today, the interview, the band, well, it was kind of an idea from Anthony from the band Lagoon, and I've wanted to interview these guys for a long time. You know what? Why wait around? Let's get into it. This is straight out of Oregon. Check them out right here. Three skaters out to play shit to fire you up when we call apocalyptic skate rock. This is the band. This is what they're talking about here. Rooted in classic metal sound, but bringing their own taste of destruction. You know what? It's the end of the world. Let's have a good fucking time. That is the bio for this band. I'm with all the members right now. This is Ash Eater. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having us, man.
Thank you for getting back to me. And, this is it's a weird running theme as I see you've got a dog. What's the dog's name?
That's my dog. It's Cricket.
Cricket. And, like I've told in previous episodes, I've traded people that are zonked out of their mind on something at a show and people that are drunk off their asses at shows. And instead, now I get barking dogs in the background. So I totally understand. Now, can you go around and just introduce each of you and what you play?
So my name's Kenny. I do the bass and the vocals.
I'm Andrew. I play guitar.
I'm Alden. I'm the drummer.
Right on. Now, how long has Ash Eater been a band? Because I could see, and we'll go into it, some of the previous bands, but how long has Ash Eater been around?
Well, we played our first show in March, I think, of 2019. So like year and a half or so. And then we've probably been playing, just like getting our stuff ready, maybe like 6 months before that or something. So
gotcha. So we got fairly new stuff now. I'm going to ask a few quick questions, and one of them is, are you transplanted now? Like, were you in Minneapolis? Like, were you all in Minneapolis before?
So that's actually another band. We just didn't know they existed, so we kind of stole the name from them. I'm not sure if they're still like playing or not. I found them on like Facebook or Instagram or whatever.
Really interesting. Because what I'm thinking of, like, all right, so here's the thing. So I'm going on Facebook and I'm looking down the list because I'm always like, I like to go back and see some lineage from previous bands and etc. So the bands like Bonefire, Seed Ship.
We have no ties to Minneapolis.
Yeah. So nothing. That is so weird. So that maybe makes a lot of sense. So I got to look up a whole new thing for on the Facebook page, and definitely not War Plague, correct?
No.
All right, so that's
as far as I know, it's both of their first bands. I was in like a shitty punk band when I was younger, but not like any real shows or anything like that.
Gotcha. So now I know. Okay, so we could just get rid of that shit right there. So, now where you're based over in Oregon, right?
Yeah, we're all in Portland.
Okay, so I got to interview Anthony a couple times. Love the guy from Lagoon. And he's got this other thing, the Crooked Whispers, with Chad from Agribody, fucking destroying. And I asked him that question. I'll ask you guys the same question in the front instead of the back end of this. What's going on over there?
It's been a little crazy. See, I've gone down a few times. Alden's gone down a few times.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's the like chaos that is getting like portrayed to the wider country,
right,
is largely localized in like a specific like 2-block area, like at the courthouse. So it's not like, it's not shit's crazy everywhere you look, but it is like I live on the other side of the river from there, but I live close enough where I can hear at night, I can hear the flashbangs going off and stuff like that from down there. And it's 70 something days.
Right.
That people have been down there. And like, we've had friends that have gotten arrested, gassed, all that sort of thing.
I've seen some of this crazy stuff. Like, I don't know if you know Fuzz from RIP. They've got a new album coming out soon, but, he was talking about seeing these gas cans where they're expired and they're still getting thrown. And supposedly, if they reach a certain expiration, it releases more of a toxic chemical into
I've heard
the
about
air.
it corrode a little more, that it's like it corrodes into some different chemical.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm no expert in any of that, but wouldn't put it past them.
But you guys look healthy and safe.
Yeah,
that is the important part. So I have to also back up because I was going to ask you about these other bands that you weren't in. For the two of you, this was your first band. Now you've been in some other kind of more punkish bands, or what was your background?
I've in high school was in just like shitty little kid punk band. We were called Fuck Shit Up because we were super tough little 13-year-olds.
There you go.
And then when I was in college, which was out here, I was in a band that we were called the Fucking Weirdos. Not to be confused with the Weirdos, which is another more established, older punk band.
Well, yes. And when you get established, you drop the profanities, yes.
Yeah. But that was like, we only ever played, house parties. We weren't like playing gigs at anywhere or anything like that.
Sure.
Oh my God.
That's okay. No worries. We knew this was going to happen eventually. And that's totally okay.
The other dog that's off camera just flopped out. Cricket.
Oh, it's another one. Oh, all right.
Oh, no, that's the one you saw that's screaming.
He wants to be a part of the interview. You might as well just bring him up on the couch, man.
I can play. She's a little puppy, so she's full energy.
Oh yeah. I mean, mine. Oh my God. I got a lab pit, and he's, I'm in Arizona. Obviously, it's hot as hell, and he goes out, and then he's out for a couple of hours. Man, he don't budge. But it's a totally different animal. Okay, so now, how did you all come together to create Ash Eater?
Just we all met each other through skating, and it started out actually with just me and Andrew playing together. And then I don't know how to play the drums, but I would try and play the drums.
Sure.
Just because it's a little it's more fun to do guitar and drums than just guitar and bass playing together. And then just being friends with Alden, we were like, oh, you should hop. You know what you're doing on the drums. You should hop on instead and let me get off that shit.
It makes total sense. Now, you played. What was your last show? Now, I've looked online. I saw a couple things. What was your last show you played?
Was it Dante's?
I think it was Dante's.
I think it was Dante's.
Right before quarantine started.
Yeah, we had a whole bunch of stuff lined up right before everything shut down. We were going to do a dual album release show with Lagoon because we both would have been there for Macaulay Trip.
Yep.
And our little EP that we did, Darkness Rising. We had that like set up, and then it was like the week into everything getting shut down. Like it was up in the air for a little bit. Like the venue wasn't sure if they were going to be able to do it or not, and then they finally just had to. We kind of all were like, we should just pull the plug on it, sort of a thing. And then everything hit the fan, everything shut down. So
yeah, I couldn't believe how quickly everything happened. Like everything was set up and tours were happening, and it was late February, and we even had our festival, Planet Mammoth, out here. And from February 23rd to March 15th, zip, everything changed, got shut down completely. My last show was March 15th that I was at. Man, it just puts it in another head. But one thing I do like, and I want to make sure I got this right. If I have it wrong, please tell me. Did you play with Tigers on Opium?
Yeah, that was our first show.
Okay, so that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's been our very first show that we did,
and that's what I want to give a thank you to, because it's another testament to promoting yourselves. And what I mean by that is, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, when you put the show on with all the other bands, we got to check it out and go over to Bandcamp and find new material, which I'm sure, what is it, Dr. Mouth and the Head Nurse?
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
They rip. That is a solid punk band. They are good times every time.
I really couldn't believe what I was hearing, so I have them on my wish list. Tigers on Opium. The one that really caught me off guard, and I was curious as to what it sounded like live, Alcoholic Werewolf.
That was the Tonic show,
Yeah, that was
right?
the Tonic show.
They're pretty chill. It wasn't like too high energy. Like it was kind of the mellow, on like, still rock and roll, but like the kind of mellower side of that.
Yeah, it was very interesting to me because he had this like Delta blues kind of punk, which distorted vocal, obviously. And anybody that has a song called Tom Araya Is My Therapist, you've got my nod. Absolutely. So, you also did play with, and maybe I'm mistaken. Did you play with Serial Hawk?
I don't know. I don't think so.
If not, that might be the other Ash Eater. I'm trying to. I apologize. I took some notes. I went through the bios, and what I'm thinking of, like, I have half Facebook Ash Eater, I have half Instagram Ash Eater. So I apologize.
We're definitely more on the Instagram side. We tried to figure out the Facebook thing, but we weren't too successful at getting like that whole.
That's probably why I didn't understand the Facebook thing as much. I was like, this doesn't seem like the same. Either way, it isn't the same. That's the fucking problem. So we'll move forward with this.
Hopefully they're not mad about it though, but stole the name.
Now, you played at the Burnside anniversary, and could you please give me a little bit and the fans a little bit of an idea of what is Burnside and what does it mean to you as far as skate culture?
Oh man, well that was super cool for us. That was almost like when we first started the band. We were like, it'll be fucking sick to go be able to do this.
That was definitely like a bucket list item for me.
And
do that.
Yeah, it was super cool. And so the year that we played last year was the 30th anniversary of that park being built. And so the whole like thing behind Burnside is that, it's 30 years ago. It started just as, it was just under the bridge. It was just all, like trash and homeless people and just, a pretty like desolate zone. And then some skaters started building there. and cleaning it up and just kind of like turning it into something else, repurposing the area.
Right.
It's like become it's like a flagship, because now worldwide there are DIY skate spots and everywhere. Like
Sure.
crazy little towns in whatever random fucking country will have dudes that go out and just are like, we don't have it, so we're gonna do it. We're gonna make it ourselves.
And it just shows something about that DIY ethic, man. There's because I'll be honest, I'm older. I didn't know of that, but I read about it, and just seeing of like what it looks like and what was created, and I was like, you know what, somebody, I don't know, they look at somebody going around skating with their long hair and all this shit, and they're just like, oh, screw you, what do you know? I don't know, man. Did you see this park I built? DIY, man. And it's just something about the scene, much like the music scene. Now we have ours here in Phoenix. Our go-to, which is Cowtown Skateboards. What is the go-to place where you are?
Well, we've got Shrunken Head is a smaller shop here, but they're like, pretty like core in the scene. It's skater run. The owner, older dude that skates, the people that work there skate.
Right.
And they've been like pretty cool with us. We're friends with the people that work there essentially, and they put out a little like shop video, use some of our music for it. So they've been super cool, and like, they're just down dudes. And then there's also a little older and a little more like long running Portland skate shop that's been pretty crucial to the scene is Cal Skate, which is downtown. That one, has been around for a couple decades and has definitely done a lot for the Portland skate scene.
It's the go-to. Yeah,
just like being there, And,
so here's the real important question, and take your time with this. When are we getting an Ash Eater skateboard?
Damn, we could probably do that pretty easy if we wanted to.
Yeah, we got the big board, the bacon. Just holler at the bacon dudes.
Our friends that run bacon skateboards out of Portland probably make that happen pretty easily.
I can't see why not. And I want to get into the music in just a minute, but it's just like, and I'll go over it. A lot of the songs that I hear, it's like all I could think about is the skating and that groove, and it's a different groove. There's a punky edge to that groove, man. It's not necessarily that doomy, slow and chuggy, because you got to hit this and hit that, and whatever tricks you want to call. But I could totally feel it in you've created this, what I would consider a new version for me of skate rock. And the reason I say that is because going back in my, when I was growing up, it would be like Gangrene.
Yeah,
like that was my go-to. I would even say when I hear some of these tracks, like I hear DRI. I hear
a fucking huge DRI influence for sure. Like, what was actually cool when we played at Dante's, I had seen DRI there the week before our show, so I got to like see DRI kill it, because they always fucking kill it every time they ever play. They handle it like it's like you're listening to their albums from fucking 30 years ago. Like they haven't slipped at all. So it's pretty cool to play on the same page.
They're complete pros, but I hear some COC, like early COC, not current, and also I even hear, this might sound strange, but like a funkier version of Cro-Mags.
That's pretty sick. Hell yeah.
Not Best Wishes, more like Age of Quarrel, but still. So if you don't mind, I would like to go down the list of some of the tracks and kick it off. The Ash Eater Rides, man. We got some frantic music going on here. Old school, got this punk hardcore kind of vibe. Now, if you were to open with this at a show, I would be confused at the moment, because I wouldn't know where you were headed as a band. So I don't know if you open with this or not. And it's almost like, it's weird because it feels like a kind of a confusion. But what can you tell me about that track?
That was like one of the first songs we wrote.
Yeah, that was when Kenny lived over at our buddy John's house. That was like probably the first song that we actually like wrote together while he was playing drums.
Right.
And I don't know. I remember the first time I ever played it, I was just at my buddy's house. We were drinking, and I started twinging away on that riff. I was like, oh, man, this is actually really rad. It's like it's like kind of heavy and fast with a touch of blues with the scaling up rolls type thing. I liked it a lot, so we just kind of took it and like evolved it.
I just kind of made him start playing it faster.
Yeah,
and faster.
he was just, pretty much. He was like, play it faster. And I was like, okay, let's get it fired up. So that's kind of the base root of the origin of that song.
And we have open shows with that song because it's kind of like, I can do some fucking like cheesy banter before. It kind of like lends itself to a little bit of like, like, hey, we're Ash Eater, like,
yeah,
we're here tonight, that sort of thing. But we've kind of figured out it's not an easy one to open with because it is fairly like relentlessly fast. It's not a long song, but it's not easy if you're not warmed up. So we've like gone to like, normally we'll kind of ease into it with like a lesser high tempo song, and
who knows? That might even be like middle of the set to hello back there. Hi. How you doing? Oh, not hi.
Whatever.
Just say hi. That might be like kind of in the middle after you get warmed up a little bit, and then you have what we don't see a lot anymore is the breakdown, and you can make it a little bit longer, and then you say, well, welcoming. If you haven't heard, the gentleman behind the drums and blah blah blah, that kind of thing. But like I said, it's a great way to start an album because I'm not sure where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely like we put a decent amount of consideration, as I imagine most bands probably do, with the track listing for the album. But it was a different approach than doing it for when we do shows, because when you do shows, it's like we try and place ones where it's like, oh, we need to like, we just played a really long, fast song. Like we need a little like breather room.
Yeah,
so
of course.
We'll do a less intense song. With the album, you don't really have to do that. And it's more about like what's going to, start with a punch, hit with another punch, and just like keep people, seeing what the next song is going to be like.
Oh yeah, we've definitely played shows too where we write out our set list and we look at each other and go, "Oh God, we're gonna have to play this one next too." Right after that, like, take a break for a sec.
Yeah,
between songs are always for.
It's exactly what it is. And some people every once in a while I hear how they have like some stuff in the background while they're tuning or changing tuning. I don't know. Whatever works for you, whatever gets you through the gig, basically. Now we're going to go into Sealed Fate. So again, we've got this punk aggression, like frenetic guitar work. What can you tell me about Sealed Fate?
Oh man, that one's really a fast one, and I think I go through phases with my music because I love blues music.
Right.
I was raised on blues music, my dad being a blues guitar player. And then through my younger years, I learned about Black Sabbath, Motorhead, Slayer.
Sure.
And I was listening to a lot of Slayer at that time. And you can kind of tell that, like towards the end where it starts doing the scales type thing, very Slayer-esque, at least to me. And I think, honestly, me and Kenny have like a really good working like musically relationship.
Right.
So I kind of I go, hey man, I thought of this riff. What do you think? And he goes, I like it. What's next? And then I throw him out like, this is the next section. And he goes, whoa, that's metal. Let's keep going. And he spitballs ideas like to us, and we just kind of work it out. And that's kind of how that song evolved. I just randomly came up with this first section, kind of that scaling section, and it just snowballed into that.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite songs. I love listening to it. I fucking love playing it. And yeah, that is a heavy one. As he was saying, like how he was like, damn, this kind of sounds like Slayer. Like when we were working on it and we were just like kind of just recording just like, the bare bones, like what's this song going to end up being? We were being like, damn, this kind of sounds like Slayer. Kind of sounds a little bit like Merciful Fate.
Right.
And then so the when I was like trying to figure out how I was going to write the lyrics, I had it just like noted down as Fate Slayer. So it's like, oh, Merciful Fate Slayer, like that's like the vibe. And then that evolved into being Sealed Fate, and I started being like, oh, I've got some lyrics, like these are kind of piecing together. But that song's super fun. I mean, it's super fun musically, like playing the bass is super fun for that song, but it's also really fun lyrically for me, because of all our songs, that one probably has the most like vocal freedom. Like I can really play with the delivery on certain lines. Like they're not so much on the recording, because we recorded that song within a week of us writing it, pretty much.
Nice,
Which,
quick
like
turnaround.
when we were going in to record all the other stuff, and we were like, all right, we got this new one. But at like live shows, like there's good points where I can try and do like a low pitch, like growl roar kind of fucking,
Move it around a little bit. Yeah, give it that. There's nothing better to me. Like I don't know. I've heard the songs enough, on digital or LPs or whatever. When I go to a show, oh man, there's nothing. When you give me a minute extra, or you put in an extra, hey ho, whatever it is, I'm like, this is why I go to the show. This is why I see live events, because I never know what it's going to be, and this band is going to bring it. And you know what? Going back to Slayer, if you look at the old way back, Show No Mercy and etc., they were total skaters. So I could be talking to the next fucking Slayer right now.
Yeah, right. Fuck. Don't put that kind of pressure on us. Whoa.
Just saying. Well, look, if the next time I interview you, if I see you have like some leather cuffs with some nails sticking out of them, I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm just. And then if you have not only like a chain wallet, but a fucking chain as a wallet, I'm gonna call you out. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, we're not the most fashion centric band.
Yeah.
But
we just wear skate clothes all day. And he takes his shirt off during shows. It's a mandatory.
yeah,
I've seen that. You're going like a la Matt Pike there.
I mean, it's for my own good. I thought I spilled a beer at one show by the time we were done, because there was just a puddle under me, but it was just my sweat. I fully thought I had dropped a beer. I was like, oh, sorry. Sound guy. He was like, didn't spill anything, man. You're just gross.
And then, you know what? You wipe off, you got a nice clean shirt to go right back to. I think you're doing it right.
You always take your shirt off before you start sweating, because then your shirt's good.
Exactly. I can't agree more. Bad Trip. This is where I felt the DRI influence. What can you tell me about Bad Trip, and who has experienced it?
Ooh, I think we've all experienced that.
I think that was. I had that riff created a long time ago in the basement days, and it kind of formed over time. And at first, we didn't really like it until, I don't know, we just kind of kept chipping away at it. And then I think the lyrics kind of what brought it together, the way he sees it and we play it. And that it ended up turning out to be a killer song. I love playing that one too, because there's so many hammered pull-offs. It's very not country-esque by any means, but the way I play it's like so many pull-offs, and it's very I don't know, there's like a couple doomy notes in there too that I really like.
Sure.
Yeah. That was a fun one for us too, because I don't know if you've gotten a chance or you found them when you were doing whatever, like digging you were doing, but we've made a music video for that one.
I saw it, yeah.
Because our boy Alden on the drums, multi-talented, also is badass editor, and so he shot and edited all that, and that was like a super fun. We like got some smoke machines. We were just set up in the basement.
Of course.
Did some weird shit and like had it. We're just having fun with it, and it at least we think it turned out pretty good. Like
I think it came out good. I was checking out. Look, I feel bad sometimes. I swear I feel like I'm a lurker when I'm going through old Instagram things or whatever from like a year ago, just trying to get more of the backstory. But yeah, I saw it. Great stuff. I don't know. I get a big kick out of everything that gets done DIY. And
that comes back to the skate ethos. Like, it's, fucking make shit happen. And it's like, it doesn't all have to be like, again, it's like a music video is like has ties to, music, obviously, but it was, like taking what the skill sets that we had as like, and being just like, oh yeah, I fucking know how to do this video editing shit. Like, let's do it, And,
why not?
or like Andrew does most of our like flyers. He draws up most of those. So like,
yeah, the album cover and stuff.
Oh,
So it's like-
that was what I was going to ask because I didn't see a credit. Did you do the album cover for Darkness
yeah,
Rising?
Andrew,
I did.
Right on. So, okay, is there a theme behind it? Like, is it created in turn with the songs, or talk to me about it?
I think it's kind of like the overlooming, Darkness Rising, and the it's kind of like it harkens to the Adam and Eve, that woman holding the apple.
Sure.
The apple, the earth burning with the snake.
yeah,
It's
the
kind of
whole
like
kind
the end
of.
of time type thing.
So, I had an idea for this band years before we ever fucking started doing anything.
Right.
And it was kind of me being not that into the scene in Portland of the like metal scene, because it was almost like so exclusively just that doom, slow,
Right.
sludge, just, hit the chord. And again, like I fucking grew up loving punk music and like metal, and it's like I wanted energy to it. And so even the name Ash Eater is kind of like, oh, all the stoner bands came through and fucking smoked all this fucking weed. I mean, I'm a huge stoner, so it's like I'm kind of talking about myself. But anyway, like whatever. And then it's like there's this fucking other. We're coming in and we're just taking the ashes, and like we're it's trying to differ a little bit. And then I ended up. This is actually weird, but I ended up reading this book that was it's a collection of like Norse mythology.
Right.
Stories, which are like Thor and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, the Warriors of Asgard and
it kind of started making me just think, it's like, oh, like I just kind of in my head started making this like at like the Ragnarok, the apocalypse sort of thing. And I was like, oh, like this could be this new apocalypse myth where the Ash Eater is just this like some force that once the world's burning, it comes and it just like consumes the ash, and then there's nothing left. And so that's kind of like how we have the hand holding up the burning world. And if you look closely at the album art, you'll see it's like a pile of ash forming in the hand dropping off the
yes, I do.
burning planet.
Yes, I do.
And so it's just kind of like something I ran through my head for a couple years. Then I had to kind of force them to be down with being called Ash Eater, because they weren't down with it at first. And I was like, no, man, I've had this in my head for so long. Like, it's happening.
I don't know, man. There are some bands, honestly, that I don't feel that it rolls off the tongue. But when I don't know, it's just like you look at it. Yeah, Ash Eater. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. It works perfectly. But one question, because now that you told me that you do the main the illustration here. So did you do the individual illustrations for the tracks that you released before? Like
Pretty much any artwork that we've put out has been Andrew doing most of all the flyers. Alden actually we have these shirts that we made up, and Alden did the art for the shirts.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's almost entirely been in-house doing all that stuff.
When the shirts come out, are you going to throw them on Bandcamp?
We have them. We could throw them up on Bandcamp. And this was all stuff we did. Like, we had the album release show we had planned. We had a whole tour. We were going to even be down in Phoenix. We were going to play a show at, what was that bar called? Some dive fucking metal bar.
I'm going to guess. Is it the Palo Verde?
No, it had like numbers in the name.
Numbers in the name. Hold on.
I mean, I haven't thought about it in a minute since March.
Okay, Timeout Lounge, Yucca Tap Room.
We tried Yucca. They were booked out.
Rebel Lounge, the Lunchbox.
Those are all places I hit up.
51 West?
No, it's like, I cannot. It is fully escaping my mind right now.
If it comes back, let me know.
By some like metal lady.
So was it through 13th Floor?
No. I think it's like a pretty small, just kind of dive bar.
I got to know now. Now this is going to eat away at me, and because if there's a place, I've been to it. As long as it's not the Maverick Saloon, that's the place.
No, it's not that. Fuck, honestly, dude, I might be confusing it with Albuquerque, because again, we had this all. We were gonna do a tour. We were gonna do San Francisco, LA, Phoenix, Albuquerque, Denver, and Boise.
Gotcha.
do a big loop. But unfortunately, I had to cancel all that.
Were you gonna bring and tour with some people from Portland, or was you just gonna be yourselves?
So I know Anthony talked to you about Dirty Princess, but we were going to tour with them.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It was going to be in affiliation with this skate magazine that's based out of San Francisco called Low Card.
Mm-hmm.
They do a trip to Albuquerque like yearly for this like big skate meetup thing. But yeah, we put in a lot of work. So hopefully it's like at least, connections were made to, when shit's lifted and we can hopefully get out and, just get shit rolling again.
I hear you, brother. I know we're in the same space. I just I'm home a lot, and I'm not used to. My wife isn't used to me being home at night, and she's like, "Oh, again? Really? Seriously? Isn't there a show? Show's lifted. Can we go back? Eventually." But you know what? While we're here on this song, which is Bad Trip, I'm looking at the illustration now. What was your idea about the illustration in conjunction with the song?
Oh man, which one is that?
Yeah, which one is that?
Okay, so there's like a little mini cauldron. There's 2 sets of arms to me, and like a doomy skull.
Oh, okay.
Creature.
Yeah, that was. I don't know. That just sometimes I just start drawing and down the rabbit hole. I just thought like, oh, this guy's making the cauldron. He's about to give somebody a bad trip. And it was just like kind of witchy thing going on, I guess. But that was my idea for it. I just kind of, I go through my little iPad and just kind of like, oh, this would go really good with this song. Or because sometimes I just do random stuff and be like, hey, do you guys like this? And they go, yeah, it's cool.
Very nice.
We're usually pretty open.
Yeah, it's just like we're just spitballing constantly. We're like, whatever works, dude.
And we can go into the next track and illustration, and that is Motorhead. Total. This is the first chance to me where I heard the skate culture in this song. What can you tell me about that and the illustration? And if you need to know the illustration, so there's 3 kind of druid-like creatures around a fiery skull.
Oh, okay. I remember that.
Didn't we use that one for a show?
Yeah, that was
too?
actually, we did that for a show flyer, and again, that was me just, sitting at work or at home and just like doodling away. And I was like, man, I have this really cool idea for like this fiery skull, and people just praying to it, and just pitched it to them, and they were into it.
There might not be the most like
connected.
yeah,
I guess,
connected. It might just kind of just like, damn, that's cool. Like, oh, we need to throw a thumbnail on this. Like,
perfect.
Okay, run it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I like that song a lot. Well, it's one of the only ones that we do that doesn't have lyrics, so it's always a nice break when we're playing live where I can shut up for a second. But I mean, we call it Motorhead just because we were like, damn, this like sounds like some fucking rock and roll, and we were like,
sure,
fuck it, run it up like that. But I love playing that because me and Alden do some cool, just like rhythmic linking in that song where we're doing like, I don't exactly know how to explain it, but at least with my like right hand finger style, because I play exclusively like finger on bass,
right?
But it's like a very like, it's almost like a stutter triplet vibe. I don't know the correct terminology, but when we're playing together, it's like we can just like link up his kind of off, like it's this kind of off tempo drum beat.
Right.
It's all riding together, and then I don't know, it's just cool. It tricks me out. I'm like, damn, this is a fucking fun thing to play.
Yeah, I love it. And like I said, first intro to that real skate vibe. Now, what can you tell me about the next track, which is Sparrowhawk?
All right, so that one, I'm a fucking nerd, and that is lyrically is an ode to one of my favorite fantasy authors who actually lived in Portland. Who's Ursula K. Le Guin. She wrote a lot of stuff, but that is specifically about the Wizard of Earthsea. The main character is like, that's one of his like pseudo names, or like people on that. And I kind of just wrote the lyrics. The whole book is essentially about him. This is like pre Harry Potter, but it's the same kind of vibe. Kid goes to fucking wizard school or whatever. but he tries to do some cool shit that he's not ready to do, unleashes his shadow out on the world, and then he has to travel into the land of the dead to confront his shadow and try and get it back. And so the lyrics are all kind of revolve around that. But that song's cool because it's kind of minimal, like
very much so, yeah.
Like Andrew's guitar is like, you know, very like ambient, and you know he's not like fucking chugging all the way. But then my bass, it's nonstop. You know, like I am hitting as many notes in there, but it kind of makes this cool, like you can feel the drive, but it's not just like smashing you in the face the whole time. And then it's got the kind of bluesy riff chorus part, but then it has the really fun, just easily our like softest riff when we get into the breakdown guitar solo, like bridge area.
Right.
Is like definitely like our least aggressive music, but then it just comes in and then you just get hit with a fast riff, and then you're just getting blasted with a fast riff till the end of the song.
Yeah, that was the first intro to something a little bit different, and then the same with which another track we'll get into, Forest Lord.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Well, let's. I'm sorry. Say that again.
That song is beastie. That one's hard to play too.
I'm really interested to get to that. But before that, let's just talk a little on Leather Witch. What can you tell me?
So that one
was a basement song, dude.
That was another one of the really early, just like riffs when we were just starting. That one is actually what we tend to open our sets with now.
Gotcha.
It has, you know, it's not slow, but it isn't relentless with its speed. So it is like a good just warm up for us to make sure that, you know, like when we're playing shows that we're playing together, that like no one's fucking going to be a little slow or a little fast, and that we kind of are like, oh, we're synced up. It has that cool kind of breakdown, scaly part in the middle that hits a really like slow Sabbath, one of our more doomier sounding riffs.
Yes, absolutely.
And just back into the main kind of just like chuggy one. It also has a super fucking fun bass fill that I love fucking playing.
And it's also another one of those truly made for skating songs. Like there was this thing that Cowtown did. Oh God, I forgot what it's called now. I'm blanking on it, but I know I was there. And so there's a half pipe. That's the circle thing. The half pipe. Yeah, I'm old. All right. So, well, okay. So what they did was they had the half pipe in the building. It was a place called the Press Room in Phoenix, and they had bands playing on stage while people were dropping in. And a song like this, I was like, shit, that song should be, and that's the first memory I had or the connection to a memory that would go back to that. So yeah, that I mean, I don't even know if it's a thing anymore. Maybe you guys could tell me where everybody does a compilation for this and that and that. Are there skating compilations still?
Like a competition? Or?
No, like a compilation, like a music compilation. So people have some music to skate by. Like,
I'm sure that still goes down. Skateboarding's blown up so much now that it is like, it's such a massive worldwide phenomenon that it might be like those things that happen like that might be like a little more mainstream or like,
right.
Less rooted in the actual skate culture. But I bet you could find shit that's going on like that where it's like, this is the shit that, that we like to listen to while we skate. And like, we all three of us skate, and a lot of the drive behind the music was, again, it was like I was going to shows and I was like, man, this shit doesn't fire me up. Like it's like a little too slow. Like I want a little more energy. I want to like, right. And so we started making the music that we were like, what we want to hear,
And for all three of you, what was your worst skating injury?
Oh, we have gotten so smoked.
I'm pretty much known as like the slammer of the group. Like I just pretty much die every time I skate, no matter what.
It spends a lot of time on the ground.
Well, what's funny is because like last year I was on a skate trip and tore my meniscus. Went to the doctor, got an MRI, and the doctor was like, "Oh, you also don't even have an ACL."
Oh,
and I was like,
nice.
I've been skating this whole time. Like, I'm pretty sure I know back when I was 18. So
over a decade.
Yeah, over a decade of not even knowing. But kind of the blessing in disguise is I got surgery on it, and it just allowed me to play more music. And I just took my first love to my second love and poured all my time into like creating and then spitting at these guys going, what do you think of this? So I was just literally, I'd sit at home and play guitar all day. Just keep creating and creating, trying to keep my mind off skating and hanging out with my buddies.
What's your worst injury, man? I've never really seen you, in the time I've known you, I've never seen you like laid up with anything or like a cast or whatever.
I've tore some muscles in my shoulders, like in like high school. And I fucked up my knees, but I've never like been to like the hospital to get them like checked out. I'm sure like I tore an ACL or something, but
so you're obviously the most agile of the group.
Yeah, he gets away with it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say, I don't know if it's technically my worst, but it definitely seems like it would be my worst in a story. Is I had smashed my face in a couple years ago at Burnside. Go figure. Still love that place. But I broke the bottom of my eye socket and pushed like my cheek in about 1 centimeter.
Oh, Jesus.
I got a real close look at the ground.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, it sucked. Like I couldn't even like open my mouth for about a month. I was on like strict smoothie diet. I couldn't even get spoons in. I just had to slurp things out of bowls. But I mean, it's pretty good now. I have like a little bit of nerve damage, but nothing like painful. Like it's, some of my teeth are numb, my lips a little numb. But it's not like, I'm never like, damn, that hurts still. Or, it's like, I've gotten used to it.
And the body's an amazing thing. You can get new pathways, nerve pathways, and then it can all come back. You never, ever know.
Yeah, they said it might, and I was like, nah, I mean, if it does, it does. If it doesn't,
it's the nature of the beast,
Yeah. I was a little worried for a bit because I thought I wouldn't be able to make like facial expressions the same way because I like it. It has gotten a little better. Like I still have the nerve damage, but it was worse, and it like I couldn't tell sometimes if I was like my right side of my face was smiling. It was almost like having a stroke.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good. Like I was just like self-conscious. I was like, oh, I'm gonna try and smile, and someone's gonna be like, you look fucked up. Like, oh.
Yeah. I get it. Now, before we continue, do you have to close the blinds? You look like you're dying of blindness right there.
We can do a little fucking shimmy though. Get me out of there.
Okay. No, I just want to make sure. Are you? Is that bothering your eyes at all?
Oh, I'm out of it now.
Oh, okay, good. I just want to.
It was a little bright for a minute, but
yeah, I was. We can always take a break. It's okay. I get it.
It's all good. We're chilling.
All right, so let's get into. Oh, before we do, just one thing. So you get this injury, right? And you're going through it, and it's uncomfortable. So when you first go back and you're looking down and you're going to drop in, what's the feeling? What are you feeling there?
I mean, it's a mental battle. Like again, like that injury was a couple years ago, and that's still a thing that I deal with where it just knocked off some confidence, but it's part of it. Like we've all been doing this since we were like little kids, and it's like,
right.
It's not the first time we've fucking gotten hurt, and I guess we're all addicted enough that we're going to do it no matter what, like I was skating with my broken face, like before I had the surgeries and stuff. Like,
also, if you drink a couple beers, it kind of takes the edge off.
Do that.
Sure. Why not?
But I mean, a whole huge part of skateboarding, like as much as it is a physical thing, like so much of it is mental, and so much of it is just like, it's like, you're not brave if you're not scared. It's like, you got to be scared and be like, power through it, and, like, do what you got to do.
It helps me when I don't think about the injury that I had, because if you just block it out, then, it never happened.
Exactly. And, there's just that part, man. You just stop it. And plus, the first, like, I'll just go back to that Cowtown show that I saw. There was some people, people are coming in and out constantly. And there were so many people that were trying to drop in, and they couldn't. And there was one person, and I remember, and it was her first one. And everybody just like,
fuck it, this is the time. Yeah.
They were so happy for her, so excited, and that's a big deal. Or,
I remember the first time I dropped in.
Yeah, me too. But that's the sick thing about the skate culture is like, it is, it's not a fucking team sport. You're not like beating someone else to like be like, damn, that was good. And so it is like so individualistic. Like you can be just as like stoked for someone that does that, you know, their first drop in,
Sure.
which is, you know, like, it's not like that's some, you know, mind blowing stunt, at least to us, you know, it's like everyone's got their perspective, but it's like, you know, you see someone who's super good and then they're doing something and it's like, that's awesome. And then you see them push themselves. It's all about people like pushing themselves. You know, it's like, it doesn't matter how good you are. It's if you're trying to be better, essentially, you know, and it's such a personal battle, skateboarding, because you're not like, I got to score more than this guy. It's like, I just want to do this. Like, I want to fucking learn this trick. I want to fucking go over that. And then you see your homie being like, he wants to do that. And then he gets it. And you're like, fuck yeah, that was sick. They just conquered their shit. I'm going to go fucking do what I'm trying to do.
Right.
It's like this whole hype train energy that is great, dude. It's fucking the best.
It's all about getting your personal best. You do you, basically.
It's fun, and it's like, yeah,
no matter what the trick, landing a trick is like, you always get that same feeling, you know, so it doesn't matter how good you are, you just get through that.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all just time and practice. I get it.
And it's trying, it's failing. It's like sucking at what you're trying for a month, and then you finally figure out the one thing you needed to do that is going to make it work, and then you're like, damn, I got it. Like,
and that's always the one thing that bothers me when somebody, you know, I know it's a tired joke. It's an old joke where they say, oh, do they ever land a trick? Yeah, but, you know, what about that 5 years or whatever that you've been practicing guitar that we never see? We just get the album, and it's like, oh, this fucking sounds great. And it's like, you didn't hear the bad notes, the clam vocal, you know, when you hit a bad note or whatever. You don't hear that shit. It's the same, but, you know, like with skating, you see all of it. You see all the dirt, all the garbage before the perfection. It's a very unique experience. So let's go a little bit further, because this is the track. This is the longest track. I found a lot going on here. This is, in my estimation, like your most psychedelic track, longest track, and I heard a breakdown, and I'm like, wait, what? Ashley just got a breakdown in a song?
At the end of this one.
Please tell me about this track.
So that's actually that was the last song we recorded. So we recorded all the other songs in one day. So for the album, because we wanted to keep it kind of raw, like have the energy of a live show, we did a live take for all the songs.
Right.
And so we hammered out 7 songs in one day. Yeah, went back in and he did like the guitar solos, and then I did the vocals separately. But then 5 months later, we had written Forest Lord, the song that you're talking about, and we were like, we have to fucking record that. So we went back in, and the homie we recorded with, like, we met him. It was like friend of a friend. His name's Neil Von Talley. He, what's the name of the recording? Yeah, Eris Recording Studios in Portland.
Okay.
So he does more like hip hop and like beat things, is more of like what he records. So he was like, I've never really recorded a rockin' band essentially, but he was down. He was like, this is fun. Like, let's do it. But yeah, so we came back in and we recorded Forest Lord, and man, I fucking love that song. It just kind of shows the progression that we've been, you know, because we are a new-ish band.
Right.
And so Forest Lord and Sealed Fate are the 2 more recently written songs on the album, and they're both the longer songs. They both have more pieces to them. They have more like tempo changes, you know, they're just more complex in general. And it's just kind of like a lifetime evolution where you can just see it happening. And that's kind of with the stuff that we're working on now. They're like longer. They have slow parts. They have fast parts. You know, they like have complexities to them. They're not just like a 2-riff, 2-minute song.
Sure.
But yeah, Forest Lord. So a lot of the songs we write, a lot of it starts with Pew or Andrew writing guitar riffs and then us building from there. That's the first song that I actually wrote the riffs to.
Gotcha.
On the bass. And you can definitely, like, I'm a huge fucking Steve Harris, like, Iron Maiden fan. Like, when I was a kid teaching myself how to play bass, I would just, like, play through Killers. I would just, like, and it's like you can kind of hear. I owe a lot of my fucking bass playing style to Steve Harris, and it definitely comes through more on that track than others. And then I wrote some nerdy lyrics because, again, I'm a nerd.
That's
it's either about books or fucking shit like that. I don't know.
Now, okay, so you have Forest Lord and Sealed Fate. So those were the last two that you created, and like you said, the longer tracks. Are those two more indicative of what's to come from Ash Eater? Like in the future? Like is the material that you're working on now more like that?
So we've actually, with Anthony from Lagoon, we've been recording with him. He's been mixing it. We're working on 2 more songs, and we have like a couple more that are forming. They're not quite there, but they're getting there. But the 2 songs that we've been working on are
Right up that alley.
pretty fucking sick. Like, pretty heavy, complex. Again, yeah, just like, and relentless. Like, one has like we kind of branch into more stoner vibes. It has a kind of like multi-minute slow instrumental chord, like almost bluesy chord progression,
right.
Slow part, and then it's fucking just hits the switch into
overdrive.
Ripping it off.
That is, I love it. I love it. Now, we're gonna go into the last 2 tracks, and before I do, I'm curious: do you ever do it live? But would you ever think of doing a cover for an album?
Yeah. Well, a lot of venues aren't down for covers. At least in Portland, there are a lot of venues that are like, if you play a cover, you're not playing here again, sort of a thing. So it isn't something we really like. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's industry standard, but multiple of the venues we've played in Portland will have signs on the stage for the musicians to look at that's like, don't fucking play covers. I don't know if it's like they think they're going to get in like legal trouble. I'm not sure what the deal is with it.
That is so strange.
Been anything that we have really talked about. I mean, when we fuck around, like we'll obviously like fucking play some riff from some song or like, that sort
Devo.
of thing.
Play Devo a lot.
Do play Devo sometimes. But I mean,
would be interesting in your genre.
I'm a huge fucking Devo fan. But I was actually talking to some record company. I'm not sure. It was just over like Instagram, but they have been releasing these. I guess they've done 2 compilation albums of cover songs, and the first one they did is all Thin Lizzy covers. I fucking love Thin Lizzy. I think the second one is like Deep Purple.
It was Beyond Glory or Death Records.
Yeah, Beyond Glory or Death. That's the dude I was talking to.
But was it Buddy or Jeff or?
I don't know. I was just talking to him on Instagram.
Okay.
But I would be fucking hyped to do a fucking Thin Lizzy cover. Like, I fucking love Thin Lizzy. Or like an Iron Maiden cover would be fucking super awesome.
You know what? Good point, because I have yet to see somebody like of this community do the Iron Maiden tribute, and there's so many people I talk to that are such huge Iron Maiden fans. Doesn't matter what era, whatever it is. I think that would be a next logical step. I think it's coming.
Oh, dude, those are big shoes to fill.
That's the thing, though, especially with them, is like, if you're not on top of your game, you're gonna regret your solo if you're not fucking handling it.
Yeah,
but
you definitely got to nail it.
I mean, you can try it. That's why, like, I've definitely been to a bunch of Halloween shows a lot of times, like Halloween house shows.
Sure.
Will be cover sets, so it won't, it's like whatever band won't even do any, of their own shit. And that's always just fun, it's like, people don't have to know your band to know the song. They're going to be fucking hyped. They're having a good time anyway. Like,
yeah,
it just kind of lends itself to like, being fun, and we're definitely not a band that takes ourselves seriously.
We've got that. We've got that in Tempe at Yucca Tap Room. They do a Halloween bash, and everybody picks something else. And when you have like a stoner doom band, and they're only going to do Beastie Boys covers, I'm like,
that's pretty tight, actually. Sick. Yeah, that sounds sick.
You mentioned Gang Green earlier. Yeah. I actually saw them probably a little over a decade ago, where I grew up in Ohio, and they did a Beastie Boys cover during their set, and people were fucking hyped.
Yeah, how can you not be, man? Come on. Music is music. You like what you like, and if people would just stop from it and just like stop thinking that you only can listen to this, maybe, I don't know, maybe it comes with age. I don't know. let's move on to the track here, The Change, where I couldn't, and it's an apt title, man. I couldn't figure out in the beginning, like the first 20 seconds, like where this track was going, what the rhythm was. I was just kind of like, what can you tell me about The Change?
That's another fun one. I love playing that
Yeah,
song
that one's
too.
really fun.
Well, lyrically, at least, that's another one that's about a book that I read because I only have so much source material. Apparently, that's all I can write songs about. I mean, it's almost like a pretty straightforward, chuggy riff, but then it gives space where it's like, you know, there can be fills, and it just goes right into a guitar solo, and you know, that's kind of like a midpoint in the songs that we've written, where we were like, oh, like
we're kind of cranking up the speed,
getting
and the
the speed
volume,
up,
and tempo,
the complexity up, having multiple guitar solos, and he has a solo at the beginning, he has a solo after the like bridge part, and then it just ties in with the, you know, all the lyrics that are all about, it's all about the end of the world, you know, it's about just watching ruin happen around you and trying to figure out if you can even get through it, or if, like, you know, at least lyrically, my shit tends to either be like hyper aggressive and it's like you're the one fucking shit up, or it's like has a kind of like element of despair to it where you're like, we're fucked, you know, like what are you gonna do when you just watch the world being destroyed, and like, you know, like you can fucking try and do something, but you know, alone are you gonna be able to accomplish it? You know, it's just kind of that like frantic despair tinges it a little bit. And I love the part in that song where I wouldn't call it a breakdown, but it's kind of the bridge part where we've got some catches,
right?
And then it just goes into
it goes into like a weird
guitar
creepy
thing.
down world. Like when I was playing that, I was like, I just kind of want it to feel like you're getting dragged down type of thing, and that's where that section comes in. You know,
Yes.
It's somewhat simple, but that sets the tone for the song, and then it stops, goes straight back to the riff with a guitar solo. So
I could completely get that as soon as you explain it that way. Yeah, perfect. And the last track, we have Worship Chant, which this is the if you want to say proggy, I felt a little bit of prog in this. What can you tell me about Worship Chant?
That's another one of the very first like
that was
riffs.
a basement riff.
Like he had that before we ever even started playing together, and of course it like evolved and changed a little bit. That's also one of the only songs where Andrew came with the lyrics already too,
Right.
Because I'll write most of the lyrics, but then that he came with those, and that one's just fun. I mean, it's the song about fucking giving your soul to Satan.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're rocking. It's a quintessential metal song, you know, like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, but it's fun 'cause it kind of have that quiet. It has a quiet build part that just crescendos into the like, and you know, to the last few fucking measures of the song, and it's a fun song to do too, because nothing like telling a room of people to fucking offer up their souls to Satan. You know?
Now here's a question, and I don't know if you did this intentionally or not. So you have this song, Worship Chant, and we're talking about giving over your soul, and the song is actually 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
Do we make it 666 seconds?
No, 3 minutes and 3:16, like John 3:16.
Oh.
Did you do that on purpose, or was that?
No, I don't know. Again, that was all live tagged or
Dun,
live
dun,
tracked.
dun.
It.
Yeah, you're messing us up now.
Damn, I'm gonna be scared of the shadows tonight. But no, what's funny about that track is like, it honestly shouldn't be that time because we kind of rushed through the intro. Just again, we were playing live, like we were playing at a little more up tempo than we do, you know, because a lot of times we'll like kind of draw that intro out because it's that kind of like let it be kind of hollow and just like fill a little more and just kind of like build before it goes to that main riff.
Sure.
With, you know, it hits those catches and then fucking takes off. But that's funny. Yeah, that was not intentional for sure.
Weird. Well, guys, I really appreciate you going through these tracks, and thank you also for hanging out with me and bearing with me. I didn't know which Ash Eater. I know I've been on social with you guys on Instagram, and I just didn't make the connection with the Facebook thing. Idiot. Either way, I've got a few more questions, and I promise we'll get you out of here. So
dude, we'll have you all night, bud.
Thank you. So, is there anything, since we've got the pandemic and blah blah blah, and we're staying at home more? Is there anything that you're currently binge watching?
Dude, binge watching. Again, I'm a nerd. I pretty much just watch anime. So,
are you also like sci-fi nerd?
Reading wise, I read more fantasy than sci-fi, but I definitely like watch movies that are, like I like sci-fi. My dad is a huge fucking sci-fi nerd.
I don't know what it's called. There's something. My wife has been watching it. It's 2 seasons. She's watched it twice so far. She has her iPad with her to make sure that she can understand which character is which and what part of the area. Anyway, it's called Dark.
Oh, I've seen that on Netflix. I haven't jumped into it, but I have noticed that.
It is very interesting, and from what I see, it's German-based, and they do subtitles, but it's so well done, the subtitles. I would swear that they made the actors not move their mouths a lot just so that they could subtitle.
Like ventriloquists, they just all have to be good ventriloquist people to...
Exactly. Like you'd see Peanut, Ahmed the Dead Terrorist. He's in there for a little bit of the program. It's really a great show. You should check it out. So, okay, is anybody else doing any binging?
The Preacher. That's a killer show.
That was a good show, man. Holy shit! Is it? I mean, I can't even tell. Like, are new shows going to come out in the fall?
I don't know. I kind of left you hanging.
If you've seen that show, The Boys, it's like a dark superhero show where it's like the superheroes are kind of not great people.
Yes.
Their second season comes out in the fall, and that first season was like pretty damn enjoyable. So I think that should be a pretty good one.
Right on. Thank you. And speaking of shows in general, so I'm going to go with a movie, and it's going to be Ash Eater, the movie. And you have to pick a actor or actress. No shame in that. Now, okay, so we can go. You each have to pick somebody for somebody else.
So, you already say I look like some fucking dude. Which dude is that? The dude from the fucking Notebook or whatever. I don't fucking know.
Well, let's start.
You always say I look like fucking Ryan. I'm like, I don't see it, but...
Wait, who is it?
He's in the past has told me that I look like Ryan Gosling. I'm not sure. My girlfriend certainly doesn't fucking agree with that.
Ryan
Gosling? I think you look like. I can't.
Okay. Now...
Denzel Washington for fucking all the that'd be sick.
Wait, who is it going to be? I'm sorry?
Oh, Denzel Washington?
Of course.
For all the sick one.
Now,
I always get people that look like the dude from The Mummy.
Yeah.
Like The Mummy 2. Yeah. Like, I've literally had people go...
The Rock?
No, not The Rock, but... The main, like, the evil dude.
No, not that.
Brendan Fraser?
I forget his name. You'd have to look it up, but... It's from The Mummy. The Mummy 2, I think.
Okay, all right. I haven't seen it, but I'm going to take your word for it, Andrew. Now, all right. So, Kenny, here's the thing. What I see, personally, if you had short hair, I'm going to go with Bradley Cooper. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'll take it. That's not a bad looking dude. I'm not gonna...
the eyes and everything.
What are you saying about my eyes?
He's got something. He's got that Star is Born quality that I could just see. Now, Alden, I'm looking, and there is a part of me that I'm like, I don't know if Zach De La Rocha wants to start acting. Maybe. I don't know. I can't tell. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, because if you cut your hair short, I don't know who it would look like. I'm trying to figure it out.
You can have Zach play him in the movie. We'll cover Rage Against the Machine songs, and it'll just be mutual. We'll just keep fucking working on it.
Yeah, I think that's a complete win. So I guess that's where we'll cut it. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Oh, you'll actually might get a kick out of this. We are actually working on again, as we were saying earlier, we try and branch out a little and like not just, especially quarantine, like we're not playing shows, like we're working on new music, but we're also working on a comic book with our friend who is a fucking badass illustrator, that are essentially like go along with the lyrics. And so far we have Forest Lord like storyboarded out, where that one's pretty much like good to like, that'll probably be the first one that gets done, but we want to do a few of the other songs too. I think we're going to do The Change. Worship Chant would actually lend itself pretty well to it. But yeah, it's just was a cool idea. And I was like,
hell yeah.
It's part of the DIY thing. And like a lot of people might be like, oh, DIY, you have to do it like yourself, like individual. And it's like, when you have a community, dude, you can reach out to people that have their skills, and it's like a community effort, you don't have to, just because it's do it yourself doesn't mean you have to be by yourself.
Exactly. You're doing it, you're within your community. And I completely understand that. And that's for, I don't know, what do they call them? Do they still call them graphic novels still? I don't know.
I think that's if you want to
be fancy,
be more formal about it, like if you don't want it to be associated with like kid shit, you call it a graphic.
Well, you know what? It's just a new era, and maybe that's the thing where, like you'll have the Ash Eater CD in with the comic, and so you could listen along. This track is
get a comic.
I think it's awesome. I think that's a great idea. Much continued success for you guys, and I hope to really hear from you very, very soon.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, Anthony mentioned it a little bit when he was talking with you about setting up a live stream, but we will, because we're working on doing that with him. So we will, in theory, probably within the next month, be able to like set up this live stream. He just got some microphone thing that we just need to test it and get the levels good on it. Sure. And we want to do it. Have a bunch of other of our friends in Portland that are in bands do a whole series of them. So I've talked to our friends in Dr. Mouth and the Head Nurse, and they want to do it. I've talked to Dirty Princess, and they're down to do it. A couple other bands. And so hopefully get a little, essentially just like a series started of live stream concerts to...
Why not?
Help raise some money for the whole Black Lives Matter movement, and, just like can't play shows for people in person, do it for them digital,
I completely understand, and it's a great cause, and why not, support what needs to be supported right now. Seriously. I mean, you're dealing with it. We talked about it in the beginning. You're dealing with a heavy-duty subject in Portland, and it's across the world, really. And, it's time. Got to get rid of this. Got to stop it. Now.
Got to stand up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what, guys? Thanks for leaving it on a great note, because that is probably one of the most important parts of this interview, and I hope that everybody listens to this, and when it comes live, support them. Go over. If I don't know what you guys are going to do, if it's a PayPal or a Venmo, throw these bands some bucks. It's going to go to a good cause, and great job all around, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, man. This has been fucking super sick. We're hyped for this.
doomtombpodcast at gmail.com is how to reach us. Cranium Radio, we got a show Sunday evening, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right after that, we're going to have an archived episode of the Doom Tomb Podcast. And, I guess I would want to kind of sign off right now, but, man, I don't know. Tommy, are you okay?
Well, hey there, Tommy. What's with the long face? I don't know why I feel the way I do. I'm just not happy, Doc. I don't feel right. Oh, I think you have anxiety, Tommy. I know exactly what you need. I'm going to go ahead and write you a prescription
for a record player and some sweet new records at Glory or Death Records.
That'll get you back on your feet again, and right as rain in no time.
Glory or Death has all the best bands: Moss Generator, Red Wizard, Love Gang, Red Witch Johnny.
They'll get you feeling peachy keen again.
They even have an insane double album tribute to Thin Lizzy featuring High on Fire, Mothership, Tool, Worshipper, and tons more.
Wowee! Oh, that sure is keen.
Side effects may include extreme giddiness, bloodshot eyes, random cravings, forgetfulness, bleeding of the ears, confusion, nausea, constipation, diarrhea, depression, anxiety, alcoholism, ulcers, or death.
Thanks everybody for hanging out towards the end, and before we go, we have to hear from this guy. Man, he helped us out in Planet Mammoth. He did the backdrop, he did the flags, and there's so much more that he could do. Do you need something for band branding? You want a gift for your family? Well, check this guy out.
Yeah, hey, what's up, big dogs? This is Mucho Drums here to tell you a little bit about my new company, Mucho Printing. Now, I played in multiple bands for several years, and I know how important it is to leave your mark after any show. Even before hitting that first note, you want the crowd to know who you are and remember who's responsible for the sore necks the next morning. Presentation is an important factor in any band's mission to the top, and that's where we come in. Fully printed backdrops, removable bass drum covers, mesh cab covers, flags. These are just a few products that we can offer to you. We're based out of Los Angeles, California, and can ship anywhere in the United States. More importantly, our goal is to help promote bands off the stage as well. With every order, we'll post pictures of the prints, along with info about the band and any other advertisements you'd like us to include. Please check us out on Instagram and Facebook by searching Mucho Printing. Send us a message for any details. Hope all of you are staying safe, strong, and powerful out there. And remember, you win some, you lose some, but nothing beats getting some. Cheers, my friends.
Your money in the bank, it's the only way to save it. You won't. Try to make a buck, but you haven't made a penny. You need a little luck, but you know you won't get it. You won't. Got a brother in the clinic, tells the same kind of story. He won't. You had another life, you know what would be waiting. If you had another soul, you could sell it all to Satan. You won't. No money, no money, no money, no money, no money, no money. It's only money. It's only money. It's only money. Let's take them all. Got a sister in New York, you know how she pleases. Walking the streets on the south side of the city, trying to make ends meet. Isn't that a pity? She won't. No money, no money, no money, no money, no money.
I feel like this is like the end of the movie where you're staying after the credits and you find something extra. Well, here we go. I'm going to talk about this for a minute. So I did the interview with Ash Eater, and I thank you so much to those guys. It was fun. It was a great time. And for the first few, I wasn't sure because I was like, I didn't want to say anything about, like, they look so different on Skype than they do on Facebook. Well, if you heard it, and I'm sure you did, you know that they're two completely different bands, same name. I was going to edit it out, but hey, we got to show it off, man. Warts and all. Sometimes we fuck up, and, I'm willing to show it. I'll talk about it all day, man, because, no one's perfect in this world. So thanks, everyone, for your support. I really appreciate it. And we will talk to you again very soon. Next episode coming up, I believe, is the Lords of Dust. All right. Don't forget, everybody, stay heavy and healthy and safe out there. We look forward to talking to you live sometime very, very soon.